BH, Thailand's top hospital stock, is seeing a drop in international patients due to global economic and political factors. Hello and welcome to Insight AI Brief Set Thai. Today we're talking about BH stock. Before we begin, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Okay, let's unpack this deep dive into BH stock. We've heard about some challenges with international patients, but what do the latest financial results for Q2 2025 tell us?
Well, looking at the latest data, BH reported a normalized profit of 1,850 million baht for Q2 2025. And what's fascinating here is it's a nuanced picture. While this was a 4.2% decrease compared to the same period last year, YoY, it actually showed a strong 6.9% increase compared to the previous quarter, QQ.
Yeah.
That YoY dip, it can mostly be put down to a really high base from Q2 2024. That was a stellar period. But the QoQ growth, that signals, clear positive momentum and operational recovery within this year.
So a slight dip compared to maybe an exceptional year, but a pretty promising bounce back quarter over quarter. What else really stands out in their Q2 performance? Anything beyond profit?
Absolutely. A significant highlight is BH's EBITDA margin from core operations. It surged to, an impressive 41.6% in Q2 2025.
41.6%.
Yeah, and this is actually the highest level in the company's history.
Wow.
It reflects, exceptional cost control and really effective management. And this strong operational efficiency, it probably helped drive that positive market reaction we saw. The stock price jumped 16% between July 23rd and August 1st.
Right. And you mentioned a lot of shares traded hands.
Over 52 million shares, yeah. So real volume behind that move. Signals confidence.
That's impressive for cost control. However, you mentioned earlier about challenges with international patients. If Q2 was a rebound, what's the broader picture for the first half of 2025?
Yeah.
1H 2025.
Yeah, that's an important question because while Q2 showed strong signs of recovery, the overall revenue for the first half of 2025, it still saw a 4.7% decrease year on year, totaled about 12,424.7 million baht.
Okay, so still down overall for the half.
Right, and this was primarily driven by an 8.2% drop in revenue from international patients, with a particularly significant hit, a 22.4% contraction from the Middle Eastern patient group during that first half.
Oof, 22.4% from the Middle East, that's substantial.
It is. It shows that while Q2 brought positive momentum, the earlier part of the year faced tougher conditions. It really highlights the ongoing impact of global factors.
Okay, so a nuanced financial picture, but with some clear strengths showing in Q2. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Given these dynamics, what are BH's future strategies? What's the outlook? How are they planning to navigate this?
Well, BH is definitely not just sitting back. They're actively pursuing a strategy of expanding their patient base. They're targeting regions like LMV, that's Laos, Myanmar, Vietnam, plus Bangladesh, China, the USA, and critically, putting a renewed focus on the Middle East.
The Middle East, despite that first half decline.
Exactly. And what's really promising here is that Q2 2025 saw a remarkable 23% quarter-over-quarter growth in revenue from that specific market.
23% QoQ. After that big drop, that's quite a turnaround.
It is, and specific country recovers were strong too. Saudi Arabia up 54%, QoQ UAE up 46%, Oman up 28%, Qatar up 18%. It signals, a very promising turnaround in a market that's historically been very important for them.
That's a significant rebound in a crucial segment. What about major investments or new ventures to support this kind of growth? Are they putting big money down?
Oh, absolutely. They're making substantial investments. One key project is the Bumrungrad Phuket Hospital. It's under construction right now, investment over 4.3 billion baht.
Phuket, okay. That makes sense for tourism.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's slated to open by the end of 2027. It'll serve as a hub for international tourists, wellness tourism, and also as a referral center for complex cases back to Bangkok. Plus, there's a new comprehensive cancer center under construction, also expected in 2027, aiming to meet the rising demand for cancer treatment.
Two major facilities opening around the same time.
Yeah, and they're also collaborating with VitalLife Scientific Wellness Center, tapping into that whole wellness market, aiming for holistic health solutions, and forging strategic partnerships too, with insurance companies, banks, real estate developers, building an ecosystem.
These sound like solid long-term plans.
Yeah.
Diversifying, expanding footprint. So what does this all mean in terms of the overall positive and negative growth factors for VH and maybe for the broader private hospital sector in Thailand?
Right, connecting it to the bigger picture. The overall outlook for the private hospital business in Thailand for the next year is sort of neutral. Plus, it indicates growth, yes, but probably at a slower pace than the big post-COVID recovery jump.
Okay, neutral plus. So still growing, but maybe stabilizing.
Exactly. On the positive side for the industry in BH, Thailand's still got huge potential as a medical and wellness hub. That hasn't gone away. The aging society here drives demand for chronic disease treatment, long-term care. That's a fundamental trend. And there's this societal shift towards preventative health care, more checkups, that sort of thing.
And BH's brand helps there.
Massively. BH's strong brand reputation. I mean, being recognized as the #1 hospital in Thailand for 5 years running by Newsweek, that's huge. It positions them perfectly to capture these trends.
Okay, those are strong tailwinds. What about the headwinds? The risks.
There are definite risks. Slower economic growth could pressure purchasing power, especially for the middle class. That's a key segment. Operating costs are expected to rise, specialized staff, drugs, utilities, it all adds up. Competition is still intense, not just from rivals like BDMS and BCH, who are also expanding, but also from government hospitals improving their offerings.
Right, and political factors. You mentioned those earlier impacting MOUs.
Yeah, we saw in 2024 that political uncertainty can affect international agreements, like with Saudi Arabia. That's a risk factor. And BH's focus on international patients, while a strength, also makes it sensitive to global economics and travel trends, as that 1H 2025 data showed.
It sounds like BH is playing a long game with strong strategic investment amidst a competitive and, well, evolving market. Now let's turn our attention to how financial experts and technical indicators view BH stock. What are analysts saying about its target price? Are they buying into this recovery story?
Analyst consensus has varied a bit, but recent reports are definitely reflecting that Q2 recovery and the strategic direction. For instance, Krungsri recently gave a target of 217 baht. MST Maybank set a target of 240 baht.
Okay, so some positive targets there.
Yeah, an average of analyst estimates for 2025 was hovering around 190.88 baht, but you see some individual brokers going as high as 244 baht. It shows a range, sure, but generally there's a belief in its upside potential.
Interesting. What about dividends? That's a key factor for many investors, especially looking for stability.
Right. BH announced an interim dividend for the first half of 2025. It's 2 baht per share. That represents a 44% payout ratio of its net profit per share.
And how does that compare to last year?
It's actually an increase from the 41% payout ratio in the same period last year. So it indicates a consistent, even slightly improving, commitment to returning value to shareholders. That's a good sign for income investors.
Consistent and growing dividend payout. Okay. And for those who look at the charts, the technicals, what's the technical analysis telling us about BH's stock trends lately?
Well, the stock's 52-week trading range has been quite wide. It went from a low of 130 baht up to a high of 284 baht. Shows some volatility there. The latest price we saw around September 15th, the bid was 182, offer 184.
Okay. And the chart pattern itself?
What's interesting is that some recent technical analyses have actually described BH's chart as beautiful, with technical potential for a new uptrend.
Beautiful. That's strong language for chart analysis.
It is. It suggests that despite the recent ups and downs and maybe general market noise, there's underlying technical strength. Chartists are seeing patterns that could signal more upward movement, which kind of aligns with the fundamental recovery signs we've discussed.
This has been a really illuminating deep dive into BH. We've seen a company showing pretty impressive operational muscle and strategic thinking, even while facing these pretty significant global challenges. Given BH's demonstrated ability to manage costs, its big strategic investments in places like Phuket and wellness, and that recent, really remarkable resurgence in key international markets. The big question for you, our listener, is this. Can BH truly consolidate its position as a global medical tourism leader? Can it deliver consistent, strong growth, even if these broader economic headwinds stick around? And how might its changing patient mix more diverse regions, new services like wellness, how might that shape its resilience and profitability in the long run? It's definitely a compelling story of adaptation. Finally, if you have any other stocks you'd like us to cover, please let us know. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support our team. Thank you.